Pillow, Red, Scorpion, Red Summers. The president still acting unpresidential. Bitch, I'm in the Bronx with the evil in my residential. It was all emojis, it was never mental. The silver spoon is under fire, and the pressure vented. The times that we living in unprecedented. We went from June to Dougie, fresh and vintage. Now the rhymes, they all pessimistic. They hashtagging black girl magic, just finesse the mystics. They impressed with quick chicks, only savages with less sadistic. They being less specific, no metaphysics. So many butter biscuits, they need extra biscuits. We had the blessed district, fresh and death. We was dressed in drip. They worship lesser gods with the lesser mystics. Cocksuckers, all they breath is fish sticks. They King Takashi, yeah, they won't protect the witness. They King Takashi, yeah, they won't protect the witness. Hannibal, darker shit, and a heart of it, yeah, starting shit. That Marty Martyr with Sean Carter, starter kid, Brooklyn, big Sparta shit, 300. The crimes of the passionate ones who fell in love with blasting their guns. My chain froze, plain clothes, same goes for Wayne Grove, the Range Road on strange roads. Dr. Strange mode on strange toes, hack the brain, rearrange codes. 360 spinning clearly like a plane roll. 365 winning really like a game host. 444 degrees on a range stove. On the coast of the mangoes. These niggas wanna know how power is obtained. If you ask the shower posse, they'll tell you that it's hours of the rain. Till none of these cowards they remain. Flowers is arranged.
Can y'all hear the music good? Like you can hear this audio, or does it sound like it's an echo or something? I need to know because I'm, trying to get this audio together.
Drawn by 400 horses, there was power in the range. 19 blocks cutters overpowering them planes. They left all them towers up in flames. I never look at 24 hours just the same. Bitch, I'm Jack Bauer mixed with black power. You a mixture of that crack powder and Mr. Matt Lauer. Hashtag Mr. Me Too. You met Red Pillar, I suggest that you niggas meet Blue.
Yo. In the land of the brave, in a home of the giants. I was COVID compliant, she was COVID defiant. That was potent, reliant, we exposed in these tyrants. Composed to the science, we not posed in no trying. Controlling the climates, yeah, we mold these environments. Scientists with client lists, Midas touch with iron fist. Holding arms, only way to catch these gems. Texas with an open palm, equestrians on open farm. Potent on that potent wand, rolling farms, coat of arms, Olympian. Kicking doors, waving 44s. They wouldn't let me in. Shit, we talking like a thespian, walking like pedestrians. It's my requiem, take you out front and center like ESPN. In the middle of the action, spitting with a passion. You get riddled if you passion. Shit, no dribble, we just passing off the scribble, we just cashing. Expand the vote, play above the rim. Earl ago, man ago. I turn for man a hole, can a hole. Let them hammers go, split your banner leg. Not even Amber Road to stop me from slut shaming all these bitch niggas. Yeah, your man's a hoe, the only antidote to split his cantaloupe. Leave you bloody like an antelope with Serengeti's. Get ready, shit, no introductions necessary. We legendary, yeah, the story still unfolds. Yeah, they taking notes like secretaries. Yeah, the heart is like a message heavy. About that life, but what we rep is deadly. Mystics in the forest, scientific witness Morris. All the shit I spit historic, like every day is February. Shit, you like it, I adore it. Shit, I write it, then record it. Recite it, and perform it. Excitement, I'm all for it. Like fighting, walrus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Melanin Tuesday. Yeah, we're a little day off. I'm talking about. Shout out to all of my KT aliens in the building. Yeah, we here now. That's all I can say. We are here now. Let's do this roll call. Let's send some heat to Texas. All right, let's do this roll call, y'all. Shout out to everybody in the building. Okay, so we got Michigan in the building. Shout out to Michigan. Dallas Fort Worth. What's happening? Y'all good down there? Y'all all right? Southeast Texas in the building. AT Aliens is in the building. Detroit is in the building. Kansas City is in the building. The Berg is in the building. Greensboro's in the building. Somebody said hella snow out there. Yeah, Cleveland, McLanta. I hear that shit. Cleveland, Ohio. The Bronx is up in here. OKC, Gary, Indiana, Alabama. Snow melting in Seattle. Shout out to you, Jason. Virgin Islands is up in this thing. The Vega Star System. South side of Houston. All right. Shout out to Houston in the building. Mississippi in the building. Sacktown is in this thing. Compton is up in this thing. Tulsa. West Side. I hear you. KTL in the ATL. Austin in this thing. South Memphis up in this thing. All right. Get it back in blood, huh? Queensbridge is up in this thing. Still, yeah. Oh, send me an email, my guy. Send me an email or hit me on my DM on the gram, on the grizzle. Let me give you my Instagram. That's the email. You dig? Hit your peoples up. All right. Zone 6 is up in this thing. Houston going through some braziness. 125th. All right. Dallas is up in this thing. Queensbridge, Baltimore. They said no utilities in Texas. Yeah, that's what I heard. I hope you, if you're watching this, you're preserving your batteries. I heard it was no utilities. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you got hit. Yeah. Yeah, you know they out here cloning the gods. You know what I'm talking about? The cloning campaign. I think that's Mark Zuckerberg and them. If you really want to know, I think that's Mark Zuckerberg. I think they doing it. They behind all of the pages getting cloned. I smell Facebook behind that. I'm talking about Harlem World, Frisco. All right, so basically the whole building is in the building. The whole building is in the building. You know what I'm talking about? So they got electric here, but no water for days. That's Houston, correct? That's Houston. Yeah, Pink Pill is out there. I spoke to her. She ain't had no electricity, so you know what I'm talking about. Gotta make sure that that gets back on by tomorrow. I'm gonna make some calls. You know, I'm gonna make some calls. I gotta work my altar. That's crazy. You see, them poles is shifting. T dot was popping. You know, the poles are shifting. Yeah, I heard that Highland Park in Dallas had electricity while the rest of Dallas didn't have it. And I also heard that downtown Dallas it was lit up for Valentine's Day and other festivities, and they all of the buildings were lit up, but other places in Dallas were not. Are they pushing them vax out there in Houston? Yeah. Remember, that's Harris County, right? That's the medical ground zero for all of those medical facilities and whatnot. It's a goddamn major hospital every 3 blocks out there. 7 degrees this morning. Shit, welcome to New York, my nigga. For all of the people in Texas that wanted to travel to the East Coast, you don't even got to leave your house. It's right here. Jack, that nigga Jack is at your front door coming to see you. You know? And consider this, young men and women out there in the Texas lands, the Gulf Coast region of the region known for their crawfish and their catfish. Just know this: there used to be whole weeks that we used to go through that in New York and still had to go to school. How about that? You know what I'm talking about? How about the snow was mad high? You know, shit kind of calmed down. I don't, they talk about global warming. What we went through when we were younger, the weather does not exhibit that for everybody. Talk about harp. Well, shit, they must have turned Harp because Harp done slowed down the snowstorms from where I'm at. You know, they done slowed it down because it don't be snowing like. I mean, when I was young, I remember how it snowed, bro, and I remember how cold it used to get. It doesn't do. It's not like that. It's them poles that are shifting. That's what I'm seeing. The poles are shifting. When I was in Atlanta, nigga, it was brick city out there. I was like, nigga, get the mink. You know what I'm talking about? Get the fall fur. Like, pull it out because it was brick city in the morning. I'm talking about I was shivery. East Coast type of weather in the mornings. Then you know it's 4 seasons, it warms up. Then when the sun sets, the shit feels like you're in the deserts in some places in Atlanta. Weather manipulate. Yeah, so what are people telling me? Did the harp work better in the 90s, my niggas, than it do nowadays? That's what you're telling me. That's what you're trying to tell me. Because in New York City, my niggas, there was about 3 major snowstorms, and all 3 of them, the snow was up to my mid waist. Okay. And this was before I ran into a Dr. Delvin Blair DVD talking about weather wars. It was some real cold winters in New York City when we was little. I remember crying. It was so cold. Somebody said it's cold on 7 Mile. God damn it, it's always cold on 7 Mile. It's so cold in the D. You know about that. You know that. We heard that song. We have another winter storm coming tonight into tomorrow morning. Is that in New York City or is that in Texas? Just to be clear. Because I know that I know there's something that's coming to the East Coast. They said that the storm that came through Texas fenced to come to the East Coast and to brace for that. But it's already snow on the ground out here. I mean, god damn it. It's it's almost the end of February. Mama, we made it. You know what I'm talking about? Mama, we made it. If this is the major snowstorm, god damn it, we made it. We made it through another year where winter was not what it used to be. I don't know what people are talking about, but winter used to be way more brutal when I was younger. Yeah, what's up, Seattle? Yeah, how were your winters? Y'all all the way up in the mountains. So now, in places in the South where they never exhibited that type of weather, they're beginning to feel that. And everybody's in Puerto Rico, BTW. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody's in either Miami, Punta Cana, or Puerto Rico, or Mexico. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas got on their song, they got on their snowbird shit this year, and everybody is, in no, not Cozumel. What's the new spot? Tulum. Tulum. You know what I mean? It's only one power grid. That's interesting because isn't Houston, Texas also the energy capital of the world? Then you got the goddamn they're offshore drilling. You know what I'm talking about? All of that oil and whatnot. And Houston is the energy capital of the world, from what I was told. Yes, it is. Here we go. We got witnesses. And it's the home of big oil. Niggas talk about they want to succeed the state, right? And couldn't even make it past one snowstorm. I don't know about that. You know what I'm talking about? So how is that the energy capital in a motherfucking snowstorm made this shit fall? I saw the pictures, and I'm not going to belittle your snowstorm and what y'all been through and whatnot. But god damn it, like I said, with the shit that we got hit with out here, it is like double the amount of snow. And New York was right back at it the next day. If I was using my mind, I would have sent some salt trucks down there. I would have contacted the truckers like, yo, whoop, whoop, 10-4. Yeah, I need you to reroute. You know what I'm talking about? I need you to reroute and go to Houston with some salt, niggas. Get some money. You know what I mean? Go get some Guapington because you're needed down there. You're needed down there. Or theoretically speaking, That could be all of the New Yorkers brought that snow with them. You know how the old folks say. Niggas done brought that. You brought the heat with you. You brought the cold weather with you. So all of those exodus, the mass exodus of people going down there, right? Like how people ran down south and then down south started getting cold. Right? Then they ran to Texas and Texas started getting cold. They never had no snow. Where's the snow coming from? It's a bunch of New York niggas over there at the Motel 6 and they brought that snow with them. You know what I mean? There's certain New Yorkers that could bring the weather with them. You know what I'm talking about? The shit is attached to them. I promise you. Not everybody, but there's a bloodline or two. Them niggas bring the weather with them. So y'all might have ran into that person. You know what I mean? Do your research. You might have ran into that one. Brought the shit with them. You know? Somebody say even Texas's wind turbines are frozen. I hope it don't fuck up all of the crops. You know what I mean? What kind of crops y'all got? Because think about it. When the gentrifiers gentrified hoods, right? We kind of ceased having hotter summers, right? In New York City, this is all facts. This is how weird it goes. I don't understand it. This is the anomaly. This is the anomaly that we go through. We don't have cold winters, but it don't get hot until late May. Does that make any sense? We don't have the coldest of winters, right? It'll get cold, but sometimes you'll have an Indian summer. So it'll start getting cold like late December, right? Then it gets it gives you some coldness, but it does not warm up. I'm talking about it don't get hot where you could break out the whole short set until mid-May. And I'm remembering Memorial Weekend because case in point, there's videos that I got on YouTube on Memorial Weekend at Dance Festival BAM. I got a fucking hoodie on. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga got a hoodie on. In the end of May, Memorial Weekend, where we used to be in Miami with tank tops on in the beach with no shirt, you know, shit like that, topless. So when all the white people started moving into Brooklyn and Harlem, I'm like, damn, it's not getting hot. Like it's not, you know, usually when it's just the hood and it's like April, you know, when you go to stunt for Easter, it's hot, my niggas. When you stunting for Easter Sunday, when everybody used to be fresh on Coney Island, were we going to Coney Island and it was cold? I don't think so. Okay. We were not going to Coney Island for Easter and it was cold. We were going to show off our clothes. Wasn't wearing no coats, niggas. You know what I'm talking about? And it wasn't no white people around us. But when they started coming into predominantly melanated enclaves or jurisdictions for POC, people of color, then it's like they just cool the grid down. I don't know. Y'all should pay attention to that. You know? It don't get like it's not getting fucking Zimbabwe hot in the hood no more. Yeah, you remember chilling on Eastern Parkway. The skating ring. We would do the skating ring. We was wearing polo jackets, not coats. We was putting the coats up. We had little spring jackets and we was fresh to death. Now, my niggas, in April, you try doing that. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm talking about? It doesn't warm up until like late May. This is New York that I'm speaking of. I don't know about everywhere else. I know Atlanta is hot out there early in the game. You know what I mean? Like I know it heats up out there early in the game, but you know, pay attention to where these gentrifiers move in on. They change the temperature. What up, though? They change the temperature. That's a factory. You know what I'm talking about? So let's talk about this. Because I don't want to waste anybody's time because we're gonna chill tonight. We're gonna chop up some game. But I didn't go to the movie theaters. I went and got HBO Max. I thought that I was a subscriber, but I wasn't. So I went and subscribed to it and I went and saw Judas and the Black Messiah. Who's willing to have this conversation? You know what I mean? This is not going to be a decoding, and there is no spoiler alerts, because if you don't know the goddamn story of my good brother Fred Hampton, you could just simply go on Wikipedia and Google it. It wasn't a fucking thriller. You know what I'm talking about? It was a segment. Wasn't even his life story. It was a segment of his life. It opened up. He was given a lecture. And before we even begin, niggas from Chicago, is that how your accent sounds? Did he nail it? Did this nigga nail the accent? Is that how y'all out there sounding like that? Because I don't hear no rappers from Chicago sound like how this nigga was sounding. I don't think he nailed it. And that prevented me from completely falling into the character. I was like, they should have had my nigga Pop Darby play him. You know what I'm talking about? I think Pop Darby got more of Fred's energy or somebody. I don't know if he nailed it. Somebody said he sounded like he's from Alabama. Is that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, nigga, what hood are you repping? Like, where do you sound like? You know what I'm talking about? I couldn't necessarily move with that, but you know, I was still able to improvise. The brother said that he needed therapy. Who? The British never nail it. Man, I'm glad I'm not in that game. I'm glad I'm not in that field of acting. If I'm gonna get a movie, I'm gonna just be the one. I'm gonna have to hire myself, because god damn it, how you gonna win with these niggas from Britain? How you gonna win against these British niggas that give you classical Shakespeare shit like that? These niggas are thespians. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas are thespians. His son should have played him. I agree. His son got that energy. He comes the closest to his father. You know, the accent sounded crazy. You know what I'm saying? The shit opened up. He doing a lecture. Like, you don't get to make a second impression. You know what I'm talking? The shit opens up and he's, we want to bring Fred Hampton to the stage, and he like Black Power, Black Power. I'm like, what? Can I get a fucking interpreter? You know what I mean? Did this nigga have a speech impediment in real life? So I was like, I'm seeing Get Out. I'm still remembering Get Out, right? That was the movie, Get Out. I can't really shake that. I'm like, I still see him in his other role. I'm like, Fred, is that you? And then he gets it don't open. It's not on, but for 10 minutes, and he goes right after the Hoteps. Did you see because the version of the Hotep in the 60s was the nigga in the dashiki. You know what I'm talking about? The Hoteps always get it in all of the movies. You know what I mean? They're like the new corpse. Like back in the days, niggas couldn't get a job without being a corpse. Hey, either you're gonna be corpse 1 or corpse 2 or a black guy with the hood. Now for niggas that's like Hotepish, they're like, all right, we're gonna put you in a script, but we're gonna have somebody just run over you. Goddamn. So he's like, we don't need no dashikis. We the Panthers. We about that life. We all black leather. You know what I'm saying? We get right to it. And he wowed the audience. And he he caught the attention of the sister. He wound up marrying his queen. And then they showed my guy Lakeith, the informant, Mr. O'Neill, right? I hated him from the first minute I saw him on him. I mean, and Lakeith dude, nothing personal. And for some reason, he nailed the character. He nailed the character. He nailed the old Neil dude. And then when I saw the video of how he originally looked, they have similarities. You feel me? So he had to get counseling afterwards for the role that he played as a snitch, right? Because he probably was shaking in his bed, realizing the dexterity of damage that this one human being caused because he didn't want to take a charge. Now let's talk about that. Let's really examine what's going on real quick, right? Because of the fact that this man was out there committing crimes and impersonating a federal officer, stealing cars and doing whatever he was doing, right? Dancing with the devil and things of that nature, taking penitentiary chances, he got jammed up and he decided that he wanted to be an informant, right? As a result of him deciding that he wanted to be an informant, he went ahead and did a job for the federal government. More importantly, J. Edgar Hoover, right? Who prior to him taking down the Panthers, right? He also cut his teeth by taking down who else but our good brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? Then he also had his hand, and I believe Malcolm's assassination, along with MLK. Everything that these federal agents, these FBI men, they call them the G men, because you know, ever since their inception, according to the research, they've always been anti-black messiah, not anti-black. That's too easy to, oh, you're a racist. Now, I would say that the Ku Klux Klan could be unequivocally anti-black. You know what I mean? I would say that, terror organizations such as the KKK would qualify for being anti-black. The federal government or the feds, it's not the same. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the federal government, people try to equate the two. That's not the same. J. Edgar Hoover, right, and the G-men, they had a mission. And they were very clear about what that mission was. There wasn't too much of a denial sequence about what the mission was. For anybody that would pay attention, right? Their mission, and it was stated on multiple occasions, and even in this movie, they did not it was such a profound statement that they had to include it in the movie to add context, right? And the statement that he made was that we have to do everything in our powers, right, to prevent the rise of the Black Messiah, right? To prevent the rise of the Black Messiah, right? And who is the Black Messiah, fam? Who is the Black Messiah? Who would qualify to be Black Messiahs in our culture? You know, in our generations, in our parents' generations, right? The Messiahs are the messianic ones. The messianic ones, not just in what we call Black culture, whatever that means, right? Indigenous culture, African culture, you know, Whatever the culture is that you can identify that we operate with in the shores of Northwest of Mexico or North America, whatever this culture is, because I'm still trying to figure out wholeheartedly whatever, because I don't think everybody is on the same page that we all follow the same culture. But this culture, right? What's the definition of the Messiah? All right, let's go and give you a definition, because in different cultures, like the Jewish culture, right? They also have a definition for Messiah. They also have a Messiah. It's not a black Messiah, but they follow the tenets of the Messiah, right? Then in Christian culture, you also have the Messiah, right? So the definition of Messiah is the promised and expected deliverer of the Jewish people, Jesus Christ, regarded by Christians as fulfilling his promise and expectation, right? But you also have other messiahs throughout history, okay? In Abrahamic religions, a Messiah or Messias is the anointed one. He's a savior or liberator of a group of people. The concepts of messianism and of a messianic age originated in Judaism and in the Hebrew Bible, in which a Mashiach is a king or high priest traditionally anointed with holy anointing oils. Okay? Messiahs are not exclusively Jewish, however, and the concept of the Messiah as a single individual is a strictly post-biblical tradition, as it is not found in the Old Testament. The Greek translation of Messiah is Christos, anglicized as Christ. Christians commonly refer to Jesus of Nazareth as either the Christ or the Messiah. So Christ and Messiah are interchangeable. Let's be clear, okay? So when we change the conversation that this European man, J. Edgar Hoover, was having with the feds or the federal agents, right? Since their inception, right? I'm talking about because he crossed 7 different presidents and he took down a laundry list of black messiahs. So being that Messiah is interchangeable, let's say that he got in front of his agents and say, we got to prevent the rise of a black Christ. You can't necessarily hear him say that because that will cause too much uproar in the minds of the impressionable ones, of the messianic ones, who most of them are in a sleeping state, right? They're in a sleep state. Even if they're in a woke state, they still can't understand the dexterity of that statement. We want to prevent the rise of a black Christ by any means necessary. Go out and kill him wherever you find him. If you can't manipulate them, right? If you can't set them up, right? If you can't necessarily you know, plant evidence on them, right? Then we need to murder them because we're willing to go to lengths. We have clearance, right? It's such a security threat. These messiahs, right? Who are they gonna deliver? Niggas. What you mean? But what you mean is, name me another people in America, because keep in mind, this is the 60s. This is before everything, all of these other people arrived. I just want to say people, different nationalities, right? We're talking about the 60s. We're talking about the 30s, right? Because J. Edgar Hoover popped up in the 30s when Garvey had a movement, right? There was stronger, larger by their numbers than the Black Panthers. Influence-wise, what Garvey set forth, what Noble Drew Ali set forth, what Elijah Muhammad set forth, was the catalyst to what we see later on down the line. So I don't compare the two ever. You don't compare continuums. It's not wise to do that. You don't compare father and child. It's not wise and grandfather. It's not wise to compare generations. That's not a wise man's choice. That's not that a wise coming out of a wise man's mouth. You're not going to hear comparatives because it doesn't need that. Because energy never dies, it just multiplies. You're just identifying when the energy shows up in a different time period or in a different time continuum, and it's the same energy. You cannot kill a prophet. What did he say? What did the good brother say in the movie? He said you could kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. You can't kill a prophecy. You could try to kill a prophet, but you can't kill prophecy. You could kill a warrior, but you can't kill the warrior's spirit. So what does that tell you? What that tells you is, in this limited time that you have on this planet, where it doesn't matter if you know who the fuck you are or not. It don't matter. Once you find out who you are, if your purpose was to be other than what they said that you are, right? Because it says in the definition of the Messiah that it's not one person. It's not speaking of one person. The messianic ones are a group of people. It's a group think. It's a frequency. It's an energy. It's an order. It's a covenant, right? It's a collective. It's not one. It's not two. It's a pantheon. And it's never ending. It doesn't end. You can't end it. You cannot kill the spirit. It'll always exist. It will always find its way to reincarnate or repurpose itself in the husk or in the mind, a brilliant mind, in the temple of those who are worthy to house that spirit. It's not going to just incarnate in any, it's not going to incarnate in an unsacred temple. The spirit don't make mistakes. It's inside of a lot of people that don't have clean temples. It's inside of a lot of people whose lights are not. They don't have their light bill. You know, they on some Texas shit. The lights are not on. Shout out to the family in Texas. Let's send them heat energy. Let's send them more healing energy. You know what I mean? To make sure that that thing gets turned around, that energy grid comes online by tomorrow. I have a vested interest in Houston being okay. You feel me? But without y'all going through a little bit of adversity and whatnot. Y'all been through the floods, Harvey. So you're a strong city. You're a strong city. You know what I mean? So y'all gonna be good. You're gonna link. It's gonna make you closer. So there's a whole system set up that if you decide to wake up and be anything other than what society or what this government and their quote unquote officers and officers have this designated you to be, right? In America, of all places, the land of mad opportunities, right? Where you could go out here and tap into 800 income streams, 8 income streams, 80 income streams, 18 income streams. You could basically be anything that you want to be legally, right? With no one's permission. This is America. This is where people come from shanty towns and they're able to make it in a whole year. Their whole life is on a whole nother level, just off of pure grind, legally and illegally. You feel me? But what they're saying is, if you are to find out anything about not just being a black man, because that has its limits. I'm talking about transcending race. I'm talking about transcending the nationality. I'm talking about finding out that you're a light being. I'm talking about finding out that this shit is assimilation. That's the type of shit that the FBI and the CIA and these other people are afraid of. They know that you're gonna find out that you from Mozambique, nigga. They know that you're gonna find out that you're an Indian and that those mounds that they told you were just hills and whatnot are sacred burial grounds and energy grids. They know you're gonna find that out. We're in an age of information. God damn it. They know that they know the ratio. They know there's enough books written on it. It's not really buried like, no. What they're afraid of is you tapping into your Christ energy. The Black Christ, not the Black Christ is not a nigga that's running around preaching. No offense to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully. The Black Christ is a motherfucker that's tapped into Christ consciousness. I'm talking about you going through portals. You're waking up to dimensions and shit. You know what I'm talking about? You're realizing that this shit is completely programmable, that you the architect in the matrix. That type of shit right there. That's what they're like, yo, Black Messiah, he got to go. That activated melanin. This shit right here. When you put this on a third eye and this shit starts, you know what I mean? Like, they're afraid of that part. That's what they're afraid of. That's what they are afraid of. They're not afraid. If they was afraid of you finding out that you from Africa or that you align with the Dogon tribe or you're from Kemet and whatnot, no, that's not the fear. And the fear is not you feeding children. Like how the Panthers were doing. One of the things about the Panthers was the Second Amendment aspect of arming themselves, the defense aspect of it all, right? Of course, that put a lot of fear into their hearts, just based off of the karma that they got coming back to them. But J. Edgar Hoover was making moves on our leaders way before Fred Hampton. He moved on Marcus Garvey, bro. Go and watch Boardwalk Empire to get an actual glimpse. They show glimpses of what took place. It's fictional, but it still has a level of some truth in it. He was knocking off people. They were knocking off people and whatnot and lining up people that you'll never even hear of their names. I mean, you know, these are the big steppers. When we talk about Garvey and the Pan, those is big steppers. What about the people who, you know, were not in the spotlight? Because those people still exist too. You know what I'm talking about? Those people have their place in history as well. It's not just everybody that makes it to the quote unquote, you know, it's not those names that are like in the front of the line. What about the people that are behind the scenes? What about the people who they sabotage their light before they even got a chance to shine their light, right? Through their COINTELPRO programs, they were able to weed out the messiahs. Because if you see the movie, you see the importance that they put on the agency coming to stop, right? The messianic ones. And how was he able to do it? With all of the tools that the FBI has, with all of the advanced equipment of spying and whatnot that they were utilizing to protect themselves against the Russians, what did they have to use? One of us, right? Agent Smith. He had to use not an Agent Smith. He had to use a cipher in the cipher, right? They had to find cipher in the Matrix. Cipher is the nigga Lakeith. So in the Matrix, just because Cipher wanted to eat some steak, just because Cipher did not want to live underneath the conditions of Zion, and he wasn't equipped for the hardships of what Zion life brings, right? He wasn't equipped for the hardships of the revolution that he said that he wanted to be a part of, right? He wasn't equipped for the hardships. He wasn't equipped for the shit when it's not going good. Because everybody want to take a ride. They want to hop on the bus when we go into the All-Star, right? But they not on the road with us for the losing games. You know what I'm talking about? They don't know when there's a flat on the bus. They don't know when the bus break down. You know, they wasn't there for that. So Cypher wasn't built for that portion of the motherfucking war. And then when the stakes started getting high, what did he do? He sold out. He could have just, you know what I mean? He could have just tapped out. Yo, I'm not with this no more. I'm not built for this. I'm going home. You know what I'm talking about? He could have tapped out. Yo, Tank and Dozer, send me back home through the phone. But what did he do? Because of, right, he wanted that box. Because of jealousy. Because of the king's disease. Because of jealousy. Right? Because of envy. He wanted Trinity. Right? He wanted Trinity. So as a result of him wanting Trinity and Trinity not wanting him, right? Bruising of the ego, what did he do? He sabotaged the whole operation. What did this O'Neal nigga do? He sabotaged the whole operation, not realizing, no, he did realize that. He made a conscious decision and he sabotaged the whole operation. You saw it all the way up until the end where he couldn't even speak to Fred Hampton before he had poisoned him. He knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong. He knew he was a snake. He knew that he wasn't worth shit. He wasn't even willing to deal with the consequences to say, nah, I'm not going to poison him. And even when a pimp popped up and was like, yo, we following you and we know who you are. And you know what? I'm going to just have to, I ain't going to let Fred go out like that. I ain't going to let Fred go out like that. But what did he do? Shout out to Sharif. What did he do? He let the jealousness, right? He let the envy, because he wanted to be in Fred's position. He wanted Fred to use the C4 or whatever he was trying to do to line him up. And he let that shit turn him into the snake that he's known by to this day. And they said that he committed suicide after he had an interview with the Eyes on the Prize. I think he got suicided. I don't know about him committing suicide unless they got him doing it on tape, nigga. I think he got suicided. How about that? Yeah, I wish baby girl would have popped them too. She was a thorough one. What's her DIN number? I'm gonna write her. If she's still locked up, I'm gonna send her some commissary. She was real in the field. Got it cracking. You know what I'm talking about? The Judas Principle. I did a whole lecture on it. I went to Atlanta in August. And I did a whole lecture on the Judas Principle. The Judas and the Blackamoor Messiah. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all should check that that lecture out. I gotta still, where is that lecture? Where did I put it? It's in one of my hard drives. And I that was the weekend that my dude Chadwick Boseman made transition suddenly. Remember, he made his transition suddenly. So that fell right on the weekend that I was doing my lecture. So I spent a lot of the lecture talking about the God. You know what I'm talking about? And talking about, King's disease. That's when Nas dropped his album as well. King's disease. That cancer. Cancer. You know what I mean? That the dis-ease. Because King's disease is gout, gluttony. Do I have a lecture archive? Yes, of course. I got a lecture archive. I got all of my classics. I need y'all to see the evolution will be digitized that I did in 2015. I'm about to have a watch party for that shit. The evolution will be digitized. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have a watch party because 6 years later, it's just beautiful to see everything that has come to fruition. You know what I mean? And it was spoken of. It was given. I was giving it up in that lecture. I've been listening to some stuff on my the archives. That's all I gotta say. You know what I mean? archives was on point. You know, oh, the Blueprint 322. Oh man, that's a classic. That's 10 years old. That came out in '09, I believe. That's a bona fide. We need a watch party for that. That was me, A.A. Rashid, Red and Blue Pill, and Pooh. You feel me? Go and look up the first FBI. Yeah, Agent 800. I know about him. Agent, that's what I'm saying. J. Edgar Hoover always had somebody who looked like us that was working against us, right? Always one of us, you know? Always one of us. And they had him hidden so well that you couldn't even suspect. Is who you least expect. It's who you least expect. You know, media era of, just hop on the internet and I could be famous. You don't know who you dealing with. You don't know who they sent. You don't know who is an informant. Because remember, the dude Lakeith, he didn't come out of the academy. He was a petty criminal, right? He was a petty criminal. He was a thief and whatnot. And he got flipped. You know what I'm talking about? He got flipped. You know? So you really don't know how advanced this thing has gotten. Right? You don't. Chicago. And in the movie, they were depicting the scenes where Fred Hampton was meeting with Jeff Fort. But instead of saying the El Rukins, they called the crew the Crowns, I think. Was it the Crowns? But that was supposed to be the El Rukins. My favorite lecture you did so far is Fear of a Black and More Messiah. Yeah, that was 2016 in October, right before Trump became president. That was it. That was one of my favorite ones too. Rats can look like vixens. Hell yeah, shit. Yeah, the Crowns. Yeah, that was the El Rukins. That was the El Rukins. That was Jeff Fort and them. There's a written account of that meeting. There was a written account of that meeting, and it went exactly almost to the T of how it was depicted in the movie. You know. So for those that don't know, Jeff Fort is a very powerful figure in Chicago. He was a Moor, Chief Malik, and he had an outfit called the El Rukins. They were very militant. They were moving. They were making moves. He was locked up right now in the feds. Him and Larry Hoover. And it seems that when they took those leaders off the streets and out of the game and off of the playing fields, then you begin to see the unraveling that took place when organized groups became unorganized. You know, they became unorganized. And as a result of that disorganization, right? As a result of that disorganization, you begin to see the rise of disorganized crime. You begin to see the rise of the murders. You begin to see the rise of, neighborhood gangs that were not protectorates. They were more like homeland terrorists, right? They were not protectorates because back in the days, those gangs were protectorates in the neighborhoods. And things like drugs or chemical warfare, it wasn't being done to the extent, right? it wasn't being done to the extent that it's being done.
To this day. To this day.
I couldn't resist. You know what I'm talking about? Hit me up if you're a Patreon and you want some of these, if you want to tap into some lectures, just hit me on send me a message on Patreon and I will take care of you. I got you. Any of my new Patreons, you might not have retroactively activated some of the lectures that we made free, you know, because we had this Patreon for years already. So if you're new, hit me up and I'll lock you in with a lecture that you could tap into. All right. I heard Jeff Fort was wearing fezzes at the real meeting. Yes, he was. The whole El Rukins was wearing fezzes. You know, there's a heavy Mo presence in Chicago. When you hear the brother say Mo, you know that's more. You know, shout out to all of my Chi-Town family. There's a bunch of them in a chat room tonight. So yeah, you know, this movie sheds light on black militant organizations and the power that they had and the fear that they were able to enact because of their discipline, their numbers, and their militancy. Right? They were watching the police. They were watching them. They were observing them. They were policing the police. They were feeding their children in the neighborhoods. They were providing resources for those that did not have resources. And they were providing a safe haven for young black men and young black women who wanted to volunteer and wanted to rise in the ranks and wanted to be a part of the movement, because movements need movement. All movements need movement, right? There's never enough people in a movement as it's moving. All hands on deck, because that is very important, right? You have a skill set, you have a gift. There's something special about you. Every nigger is a star. That part, right? But everybody has to learn how to play their positions. Henceforth, when you saw in the movie, they had rank and file, even in the street organization. You see, when a brother spoke out of term, he got backsmacked. He spoke out of turn because he disrespected the discipline. So these organizations are able to stand as strong that they are. They had armies, standing armies and whatnot, based off of the fact that they are organized. It's not nothing super magic to it. It's about organization. It's about discipline first and foremost. But you have to have rank and file. And within rank and file, you can find organization, and within organization, you can find discipline. And within discipline, you will find results. You will get things done. You will be able to accomplish things, and your reputation will precede you, because those who are not as organized, or those who cannot get on the discipline, you know what I'm talking about, they'll always be intimidated, and they'll always fall in line when discipline is brought to them. You know, so you saw that with the El Rukins, who they called the Crowns and whatnot. You know, they was properly holding it down. You know what I'm talking about? They were rolling militant. And there's nothing wrong with rolling militant in real life, family. Don't ever feel, especially if you live in a Second Amendment state. You know what I'm talking about? Meaning that you could swing that thing, you could swing that iron, you know, legally. God damn it. Like I said, man, y'all glad they didn't reincarnate me with a clean record, man. I would be on Al Gore's internets acting a fucking fool with the hammers. I'll be tapping into my old goon. I can only play with an onk right now on the cameras because, you know, I don't do prop pistols. You know what I'm talking about? I don't do prop pistols. Peace and love from Chicago, Red. It's fucked up that a self-hating closeted transvestite is reserved for his hard-on for trying to take down a so-called messianic figure amongst our black men with COINTELPRO. That shit triggered mad memories for me. I used to frequent Jeff Fort's club called the Fort back in the day. Jeff was a real one. When they put him in jail, the whole shit crumbled and young cats had no guidance. Thus the drillers now. Am I making this up? Thank you, God. I appreciate you, Tina, goddess. Am I making this up? You right there from the source. From the source to let you know what happened. Right? So now, to put it into context to where we're at today, we are in a very interesting time, in a precipice, because you now have that type of temperature coming back, right? Drill is big. Drill, Chicago and Brooklyn. I just put an article up on my Instagram. They drilling in New Zealand. They drilling in Italy. They drilling in Nigeria. And if people are celebrating drill, I would be like, hold on, you're gonna be a walking contradiction. I mean, I understand what the drill is, but that's celebrating the murder of 2 black people. That's gang warfare, and they just put a soundtrack to it in a real sexy dance. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? And they brought some new lingo to it, but you really celebrating young people. Young people, not no old niggas, not he had it coming to him. No, the messianic ones. This is Messiah suicide. This is killing off the black Messiah, right? It's on Tesla mode. It's on auto drive. It's on auto drive. You feel me? It's on Elon. So you got kings killing kings, right? Because how could an 18-year-old die? How could a 15-year-old die? How could a 17-year-old die? Right? How could a 20-year-old die? And you don't know who these people are. You don't know what their potential was. You don't know who the fuck they was destined to be. They wasn't destined to be no fucking to be in nobody's blunt. They wasn't destined to be a pack. They wasn't destined to be a fucking bar and another nigga's rhyme dissing your dead body. So your mama go to work and she hearing it playing on a radio. Right? They on the radio talking about how many niggas, how many ops they killed. They saying the names of young black men that got killed. For all of you Black Lives Matter niggas with if you got a Black Lives Matter tattoo, put a fire emoji in the chat. You feel me? Like, and they made niggas got worldwide dances, people around the world, white kids in the suburb, all lives matter, blue lives matter. They got police repeating that they motherfucking GDK, nigga. What you talking about? Pop Smoke album is still on top of the charts. Rising power to the God. He's the drill god. He's bigger than Chief Keef. I said it. He got more impact. Maybe not. But for these days and times, he's gonna be the Tupac of drilling, my niggas. Let's be clear. You know? Chief Keef, his story was more believable. Pop Smoke's story, you could feel it more, if that makes any sense. Because Chief Keef, they was really, they was catching them stains, Lil JoJo and a few other things. And it's really a war out there, but it's really a war in Brooklyn. So the way that you say the niggas is real is by their body count. And none of these people is Kyle Rittenhouse or Dylan Roof. Nobody didn't go in the penitentiary and drill Dylan Roof yet. They didn't drill his roof. That nigga did not get his roof drilled. With all of the drillers, they drilling in, nigga. It's a drill everywhere. So he's a op and he's a pack. It should be Zimmerman is a pack, right? It should be 1 million drillers on him. Look, the streets is talking. Said Pop Smoke had better engineers. Chief Keef was the Moses of drill, right? Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not a teenager, bro. I'm not a teenager. I don't consider myself teenager like. But, you know, I fuck with the youth heavy. When I was listening to Chief Keef in 2011. Okay? Because I'm a connoisseur of the culture. So I was made aware of Chief Keef in 2011. Fam, that nigga made me want to body something. I promise you. And this is before he even blew up. I'm listening to 300. I'm listening to Madden. I was listening to the underground shit. And he was putting me under, because keep in mind, this is almost around the same time of, this is around the time of Trayvon Martin. This was around the time of Zimmerman. Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin pops the same time Chief Keef takes out. That's what I'm saying. That's the paradoxy, right, of black people. That's the hypocritic nature, like Kendrick said. The hypocritic nature of black folks is at the same time niggas was buying Skittles and hoodies, that's when Chief Keef was getting famous for drilling niggas in Chicago. That's that shit I don't like. So by time 2013 comes, or late 2012, and Chief Keef is lit, and the whole drill scene is lit, and you know they got Little Dirk and all of them is starting to make a little bit of noise, OTF, and you know a little they got little personalities that are popping out. I was ready to drill shit. I was like, yo, he had me in a drill mine. I was, yo, that shit was so intoxicating. And I'm a grown man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he dropped the NFT. I'm a grown man. This was before King Von. I'm talking about, this was Fredo Santana. This was when he did Traffic with Little Reese. I'm talking about the whole Little JoJo, rest in peace, that whole situation. Like, I'm talking about that timeline. I was there for all of that. And I was telling niggas, I was like, yo, y'all gotta watch out. These young boys is little niggas like 15. That was when it was up. That's what it was stuck back then. It was up. It started getting real weird later on when he went to LA. In my humble opinion, he started mumble rapping and all of that other shit, and they started being real cloudy. I moved on to something else after that. That was just real quick. Lilith. Oh, I like that. That's a bar right there. Lilith. These rappers want to be she devils. Yeah. Little Reese was the Grim Reaper, and what was Fredo? Fredo in that cut. That's that shit you yo, that's a scary sight. That's that shit I don't like. So the same Chicago that birthed Fred, right? Not just Fred. This is Farrakhan. This is the NOI. This is the Moors. This is the headquarters. This is Chicago. Chicago and Detroit, the two homes of black consciousness. Let's be clear. Right? Young boys in Buffalo, they not under the Griselda spell. They not under the Griselda spell. Shout out to T. Rogers. I met him before. You know? So that energy existed. That energy existed with Chief Keef, right? That's 2013, 2012. Fast forward to 2019. They have Pop Smoke Well, first it was 22 G's, Chef G, that's the Woo and the Chews in Brooklyn. These little niggas start beefing, right? One group is from Ebbsfield, Crown Heights, the other group is over in Flatbush. They start doing this drill shit, right? They start beefing. Oh, thank you. My goodness, what am I talking about? What's wrong with me? I'm speeding. What the fuck? I'm bugging. I'm bugging. You know what I mean? I'm wilding right now. I might need a smoke break. I'm wilding. Hold on. Nigga. Bobby fucking Smurder, bro. What am I talking about? Okay. 2014, nigga. Bobby Shmurda, the father of the Brooklyn drill scene. What am I speaking about? I mean, pardon me. You know what I'm talking about? The father of the drill shit. The king of New York drill. My bad. Excuse you, me. No, not Bobby. Rowdy and Bobby, right? There's no Bobby without Rowdy. There's no Rowdy without Bobby. And I think that Bobby and Rowdy are more of a dynamic duo than the Chief Keef and the Reese or Chief Keef and Fredo. They turn up more. Facts. They turned it up. My bad. Excuse me. Yeah. They turned it up. They turned it up. They got that shit lit. This was right after the Flatbush riots when they killed Kiki. And Kiki is the nigga that smacked Pop Smoke in the video that went viral. The police killed Kiki. His name is Kamani Gray. They shot him in the back 7 times, right? So there was the Flatbush riots. That was in 13. And then in 14, hot nigga came out, or hot whatever that was, the Bobby Shmurda shit. And that was right from that hood where they was turning over police cars. They was clapping at police. They was giving them the business. So Papoose ain't no early drill. It's not drill. I'm trying to give you the story. I'm giving you the legend. It was these Flatbush niggas, man. It was Rowdy Rebel, GS9, and Bobby Shmurda, and they had ops. I don't know if they ops rapped, but they had ops, and they started making movies with the ops. Okay, if you understand that language, they started making movies with the ops. That's where all of them cases come from, and they turned the shit up. And yeah, they from the 50s and they from the 90s, right off of Church and all of them 50s and the 90s. That's always been every area got an area where it's always been gundoleros. It's always been a shooting gallery. You know what I'm talking about? There's always an area where niggas been on a Wild Wild West. It's always been, pistol slinging, and that's always been that area. Yeah, the 90s versus the 50s, right? Flatbush Zombies in them, where the 6ix9ine fit in. Nah, he doesn't fit in yet. You know what I mean? But he has to be spoken of because he has a lot to do with Brooklyn drill. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Even though it was some clownish shit, he damn sure tried to hop in, and he brought a highlight to Brooklyn gang culture that there wasn't on Brooklyn in a very long time. Because like I said before, all of the artists coming out of New York is gang related ever since Jim Jones popped. Everybody's gang related. There's nobody really that's popping that's not gang related in New York. This is a gang town, right? Ebro and all of the fake niggas on the radio, they be acting like, oh, Black Lives Matter, and you know what I mean? But everybody knows this is a gang town, you know? Shorty Red started trap music. Yeah, with the Jeezy mixtapes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the Zombies was out. The Zombies was out. Yeah, we wasn't really. I ain't. Yeah, the UK drill was popping. It started coming up and everything. But you know, Designer was an anomaly. You know what I mean? Designer comes in between. He fills in. Doesn't he come after Bobby? He's before Bobby and Pop. So he's in between Bobby and Pop. Designer brings back the Atlanta sound to New York, right? Sounding like Future. He brings back the Atlanta sound. And, you know, like I said, New York started turning into like a mini Atlanta, you know, because of like they had the adult entertainment scene, right? The adult entertainment scene, Bobby and them type kind of came out in the beginning of that as well, where New York was starting to emulate Atlanta, where you break your music in the strip clubs and not the regular clubs anymore. So the regular clubs was getting super turned up and whatnot, but everything started having to pass through the strip club. So, like I said, all of the rappers are affiliated. Cardi B, right? Bloods, Jim Jones, Bloods, GS9, Crips, right? Um, what's her name? Young and May, right? Bloods. Um, what's my dudes in them? Pop Smoke in them, Crips. Fabio, Crips, right? All of these Tekashi 6ix9ine, Bloods. So this whole name a rapper who popped out in New York in the last 6-7 years that hasn't been tied in. Dave East, Crip, that hasn't been tied in to the two gangs. Dave East is a Crip, and I don't know where he fits. You know what I'm saying? When he came out, he's not I wouldn't say that he shifted the city like that. Joey Badass, like I said, you have Flatbush Zombies, Joey Badass, ASAP Rocky, and all of them. They came out and they were the anomaly. They came out in 2012, 2013. They were supposed to blow like that. When Capital Steez died and when Yams died, that slowed both of those groups up and shifted the whole energy. And then the other groups like Zombies, Joey Badass, and all of them, they started really focusing on shit outside of New York in a way. You know what I'm talking about? Uncle Murder been out. Uncle Murder's not new. He been out. So he's, you know, he's not affiliated with the gangs, but he's you know, you could say that, I don't know. But I'm talking about like the younger generation from like 2012 and on and shit like that. So yeah, like Joey Badass and all of them, but they didn't have the city like that. They didn't have the air of the city. Like a lot of people is really just, yeah, Casanova, Blood. A lot of people are really just getting to experience some of these young boys and whatnot. But like I said, I was playing them on, if you go into my archives of Know the Ledge, we was playing them in 2012, 2011. Doug Waffles and all of that. We was playing Flatbush Zombies, Underachievers. We were like, yo, the youth are waking up. They called the Indigos. We were sounding the alarm like, yo, we talking to older people. We were like, yo, you would not believe that the youth are waking up. This is a special day in time. This is a special day in time. We was putting people on notice that there was a wave coming. You feel me? That there was a whole wave coming, because I went and saw Afro Punk in 2012, my niggas. I had got invited out there in Brooklyn. I went to the Afro Punk. I seen some shit that I never seen before. I was like, oh shit. I never saw young conscious people that was on it like that. They was drinking 40s, my nigga. It was like conscious thottery going on. You know what I'm talking about? It was people with blue hair. Like they was on some little Uzi Vert conscious shit. I never seen that shit before. I never seen that, yo. I was like, this is some new shit right here. The youth are, it looked like if Bobby Hemmett and fucking and George Clinton had a kid or something. You know what I mean? They was on a Dolph shit. They was on some Darth Vader type. You know, they was on a middle path. They were, because keep in mind, I'm coming from a very rigid, regular. This shit was it was in this was deregulation that I saw at Afro Punk. I come from regulation, right? When I came out of the community with the lecture scene and whatnot, 125th Street, that was not deregulated. there was rules and there was certain standards and there was certain things that certain people couldn't do. Like it was very rigid. When I went to Afro punk, that shit was deregulation. It was like crypto. Were they back? Yeah, they were, you know. Yeah, Nairobi and Cyrock, we was playing them 2010. Cause Nairobi and Cyrock been out. We was playing them in 2010. Rinsing. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna say that they were backpackers. They were like the evolution of backpackers. And I saw a lot of LBGT shit, right? And I wasn't judging. But I did not see that in Harlem like that. We were not exposed to that. Even at the African American Arts Festival, even at Dance Africa, it was still regulated. It was still regulated. It was shit like Afro punk that showed us the deregulation. It was almost like, I'm telling you, it was just like it was akin, if Bitcoin was a fucking person, nigga, it would be them people at Afro punk. If Bitcoin, if cryptocurrency was a person, it would be the shit that I saw at Afro punk. And that's the same year that I saw the Flatbush Zombies perform it. And I fell in love right there on the spot. I was like, nah, these are my favorite niggas right here. They got bars and they repping and they got the light. I see it in them. I know that they got the light. And yeah, they got the light. You know? Damu didn't see him as a real Damu. Well, they got good eyesight in Houston because he's not. You know what I'm talking about? He's not. You know? So at the same time that the youth were experiencing indigo rappers like Joey Badass, ASAP Rocky and them, I wouldn't consider ASAP Rocky and them so much like that. They were more on the outskirts. I remember ASAP Rocky because he had a video with a white girl wearing bottom fronts and the shit went purple and whatnot. And I was like, that's different. And these little niggas is in Harlem. Like, that's different. That's deregulation because that's not Harlem right there. That's not how Harlem is. Harlem is more pro-black at this moment. And then when I saw that video, I was like, that's different. You know what I mean? He's bending the fucking spoon, right? And then they popped off. ASAP Rocky popped off. He even signed to the record label that I used to work at, Polo Grounds. But at the same time that Flatbush Zombies, at the same time that the Underachievers, and if people are not familiar with these two groups, they was spitting conscious shit. Yeah, Purple Swag, right? Purple Swag. And then yeah, the little niggas was wearing like Versace shirts and stuff like that. ASAP had a very much more darker energy. See, the thing with ASAP is that ASAP was bringing in the Southern flow. Remember, he was bringing in the double time back to New York. He was bringing in Texas flows, all of those different flows and whatnot. So he was a beast for that because niggas from New York was not experimenting with those flows. He wasn't rapping on those flows. He merged. He was deregulation. Because to be honest with you, the youth that I saw at Afro Punk, that's his audience. Those are more the ASAP Ferg type of audience, you know, shorties with blue hair. You know what I mean? It was just different. It was just different. And it was a breath of fresh air. He brought lean back to New York. He definitely brought lean to New York. You know what I'm saying? The fashion trends that ASAP and them was bringing was designer. They was bringing the designer. They had the young niggas on the designer. They had the young niggas on like couture streetwear. Rick Owens, you know, Vince's Versace shit, Vince's Coogee and whatnot, bringing back the 90s and whatnot. Because remember, these are 90s babies who they was probably in the fucking crib when we was rocking Coogees. You know what I'm talking about? Did y'all see the trailer for the Biggie thing coming up on March 1st on Netflix? Man, legend. Legend. I'm going to talk about that in American Gods lecture with Blue Pill. I'm sure he's going to want to dive right into that because, you know, Biggie is a lower 44 resonator. But yeah, so the youth there was two movements taking place simultaneously. There was the drill movement, and then which is the kill. The drill movement is young kings killing each other because you could dress it up however you could put a fucking a skirt on it. You know what I mean? Like you could try to put lipstick on a pig, but that's what it is. And the other movement with Joey Badass, Pro Era, Underachievers, Flatbush Zombies, and a few others. Kendrick Lamar through Black Hippie and all of that. Ace Absol, Absol, Kendrick Lamar on the West Coast, J. Cole a little bit. Like they were pushing more intellectually, they were giving you a little bit of, I would say it was plant-based. You know what I mean? Like it was some third eye activation, indigo, plant-based, you know, different type of vibes. It wasn't the kill, murder. It didn't like Chief Keef at one point, his shit felt so low vibrational. Like some of those Glow Gang releases, the if you put that shit through a motherfucking giggle meter, my nigga is radioactive. It was so toxic. It was so low. That shit was like it was lower level music. It was a deaf frequency on that shit. That was definitely deaf culture. That was deaf culture. That nigga was Baphomet on wax, Chief Keef at some points. For real. You could just feel it. You could just feel it. You felt the heaviness. You felt the pain of Chicago. And the music, it was very low level. And then you had these other young niggas, they were higher level. Go and listen to Control Theory from Ab Soul. That's 2012. That was one of my favorite albums. I listened to that front and back. You know what I'm talking about? I remember AA dropped Batman Mafia in 2013. He had me lit. I was like, oh, I gotta make me a tape, my niggas. He was a Chirac demon for real. So fast forward to after Bobby and them fall. Bobby and them get locked up, right? Bobby and them get raided. The feds come and get Bobby and Rowdy, and they give them, 7 years or whatever. So then right after that, Pop Smoke and them pop out. And then you got Brooklyn Drill, where it's at right now. And Pop Smoke's version of Brooklyn Drill, not to take anything away from Chicago's version of drill, is a different type of drill. It's a different type of drill. It's a different type of drill. I don't know. It has different components to it. It's a different sound. It's a different energy, niggas. It's a different energy. It's more about partying and whatnot. I'm talking about Pop Smoke especially and why he's selling. Because if you listen to the album, his debut album, it's not really a drill album. You know what I'm talking about? He's winning because he's talking to the shorties. Let's be clear. Niggas, when he died, it wasn't that much aesthetic drill. Yeah. When he died, when he made his transition, when they bodied him, he didn't get that much and it happened right around this time. He got killed right around this time, right? In February, he got killed. They bodied him around February. Rising power to the young god, only 20 years old. But yeah, ASAP merged Houston chop and screw sound with New York flavor. Yeah. Yep, he did. Shout out to Yams. They load them songs with magic. Yeah, he brought the hot. See, he merged it by bringing the Dior, the high end fashion, and the dancing, my niggas. You can't beat that dance, bro. Like that's the dance of the fucking century right there. You know what I'm talking about? That Brooklyn drill shit. That's the dance of the century. You know what I mean? Like the whole. I don't got the whole shit down pack. I ain't finna do it for you right now. But goddamn it, I'm from Brooklyn, so it's required that I know how to do the Pop Smoke. You know? Yeah, shout out to Nas Blicky. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Nas Blicky, you know. That's fam right there. You know what I'm talking about? That's famalam. You know, but that dance right there, that Pop Smoke dance, you could do it to anything. So he captured the women in a way that, you know, Fabio got the ladies, but Pop captured, you know, he was mad smooth. He just had it. He just had it. You know what I mean? You know, you're a Brooklyn nigga. You know how that go. He just had it. You know what I'm talking about? It's in the fucking water. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's in the water. So that music, unfortunately, right? Yeah, it's tribal dancing. These are war dances. The drill music got war drums to it. It's wartime indigenous music. It you know, yeah. And I spoke about it before. I've spoke about it before about I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn. Shout out to all my FBA and my ADOS niggas out there. Bang bang. Right? And I explained the influence of dance hall, right? On just Brooklyn. It don't, you know, it's whatever. It's because we from Brooklyn, so we athletes, we rappers, you know what I mean? We scholars, we doctors, we lawyers, we pilots, you know what I mean? We just Brooklyn people. So we're influenced by our culture, and our culture, especially from Flatbush, is dance hall, reggae, you know what I mean? Uh, uh um, you know, Caribbean culture. Shout out to all of the ladies out there that like wearing feathers for carnival. Yeah, shit like that. We're into colorful things. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we're colorful people. That's our culture. Yeah, we eat spicy food, niggas, and curry, nigga. That's our culture. You know what I mean? And you know, we play with them things. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we play with them things. That's our culture. Yeah, shout out to all of my Zoes and whatnot. Yeah, that where the Zoes got their names from. Yeah, I don't know what they, because I know that they was making noise in Florida. The Zoes made their name in Florida, but they made their name in Flatbush too in the 90s. They had to come up on the struggle. You know what I mean? They had it hard in Brooklyn. They made their names though. So whatever we do is infused with the culture. So the young boys that are drilling right now, like Pop Smoke and all of them young rappers, they all Caribbeans. They all from the islands. So they're doing war dances from the islands, and those drums, those synths, the organs that you hear in the trap music is similar music that you is similar organs that you hear in the church, because the same way that trap music coming out of the South is giving you them deep ass organs that you hear in the same mega churches and the same Christian hymn churches in the South. These in Brooklyn, right? They go to church the same way. They religious like y'all religious down south. Niggas from the islands and they mamas is Caribbean, and they all in the church. They all in the church. So they got that drum that they had to the Europeans was banning niggas from, y'all, you can't, because that was the war drum. They got that drum and they mixed that shit with the motherfucking organs that sound like Candyman is coming. You know, the shit gets spooky. That type of, or I love the music that sounds spooky. That's just the Scorpio in me. You know what I'm talking about? I love spooky sounding shit. You know what I mean? The organs is UGK all day. The deep body organs, right? It start talking to your parasites. The shit go all deep in you. You know what I mean? That deep body organ, it just penetrates. I feel it. I'm in the club. You know what I'm talking about? I just saw a DMX interview on the Drink Champs. I start getting on my Dark Man X shit. You know what I mean? You just can't help it. You on the brown juice. You smoking some chocolate Thai. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, 3-6 Mafia. Yeah, 3-6 Mafia. That was like, nigga, Freddy versus Jason type of music. Them little niggas is turned in St. Thomas. Yeah, they Bro, they've been turned in the Virgin Islands for years. They've been turned for years. Somebody said that they won't look. Y'all better hope that they fight for their people. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think, like I said, the messianic ones are amongst us. Some of them are in the gang, some of them are not, but they're amongst us. The messianic ones are drill rappers. The messianic ones are trap rappers. The messianic ones is out there pitching packs. You know what I mean? The messianic ones is running up in banks. The messianic ones are in institutions. The messianic ones are working 9 to 5s at Amazon, driving Ubers. They're everywhere. They're all around us. We cannot personalize or generalize, you know, the messianic ones. Yeah, that's you know what I'm talking about. Nigga, DMX was the first drill rapper. If you want to be clear, if you really want to keep it there, he was drilling hard body. You know, tear the club up, tear the club up, tear the club up. Yo, when I was in Atlanta and I heard, I don't give a fuck what you say. Ain't no more playing GA. Don't give a fuck what you say. Pastor Troy. Niggas don't give Pastor Troy his credit. Niggas. I don't know. I was in Atlanta. Right? Pastor Troy got Atlanta lit when Atlanta wasn't lit. Pastor Troy turned up Atlanta and got at Master P, bro. Pastor Troy put Atlanta on his back with no more playing GA. That was a call out to the out of towners to get in line, niggas. You know what I'm talking about? That was he was banging on the war drums. Yeah, David Bannon came with some heat too. Niggas was afraid of David Bannon in the beginning. David Bannon was intimidating. He was an old big country nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Pastor Troy brought it to niggas' doorsteps with the no more playing in GA, but he was really getting at Master P. But Atlanta niggas they kind of took it as their it was like they was using that as their hype song to try to base on New York niggas. We was like, oh, say word, cause you be in the club and that shit come on and they be doing circles around the club and shit. Like this shit is a fucking like we in the chicken coop. Yeah, Pimp C was something else too. He used to have Atlanta. I remember T.I. had Atlanta under pressure. Oh yeah, Waka Flames, when he came out with that, he was shaking the room. He was shaking the room for a few years. He was shaking the room for a few years. Yeah. He from Augusta, right? They had the what was that? Like they was their version of Summer Jam. Came out with the belt. Come on, B. That was a moment right there. That's Atlanta history. You feel me? That's ATL hit. They should have a book for niggas when they come to Atlanta, relocating and whatnot, so they understand the history. This was before Jeezy era. Nah, we not doing Bubba Sparks. Yeah. Shout out to my dude, Raspy Rawls. That's his teacher. That's Waka Flocka's teacher. Yeah, shout out to Waka. Yeah, the OJ the Juice Man damn sure had a run. Huh. So all of that music that you hear in trap, a lot of that, those organs, those sounds. That's why Jamaican niggas and Brooklyn niggas love down south music. That's why they love trap music. That's why they love Gucci and all of that. They love Little Baby. They love all of that Atlanta sound because it sounds a lot like it reminds them of the Gundalero reggae dance hall, Bodman shit. That you know what I mean? It gets dark. They like dark music from New York. Niggas in New York love dark music. All Star Murder Week. You stupid, man. Don't say that. There's no pro-black Crips or Bloods. Wickedness is in their heart. And I wouldn't say that. I know some pro-black Crips and Bloods. I wouldn't say that. I would say that they're the minority. They not the majority, but you can't say that there's none of them like that. Nah, that's a misnomer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I was there for that too, man. I was in Atlanta when Nuck If You Buck came out. Nigga, I was on tour with them because when I was working with Pitbull, they was hot too. The Yin Yang Twins was hot. We was always on tour with the Yin Yang, Little John, and then we did a show. We did two Little Scrappy when Little Scrappy first came out, and then we did a show with these crime mob niggas. They were different. They had the same type of disorder that Chief Keef had. They couldn't look you in your eyes. They was hiding underneath their dreads type. They was very dark energy type shit. The crime mob niggas, they was on some dark shit. And yeah, they was lit. They did that song. Ain't no more playing. I mean, knock if you buck. Knock if you buck, boy. Knock if you knock. Man. Talk about turned. Man. Yeah, Hurricane Chris. I used to work with Hurricane Chris at Polo Grounds during the A-Bay. You know what I mean? What about Little Webby? He was lit. Wipe Me Down. He was lit. Yeah, rest in peace, Bankroll. So yeah, it was a long tradition. So, you know, a lot of the culture, you could see how things in the 60s have shaped the culture for today. Like shit like William O'Neill not wanting to take a charge and just wearing that shit. You know what I mean? The ripple effects of what William O'Neill did by being the Judas to Fred Hampton's Messiah, it could take us all the way to where we're talking about, the culture and where it's at. Because I didn't create that scenario. I'm just a times keeper to say where the culture is at. Because I was there for many significant moments of it. I survived through it. I lived through it. I even participated in it. So it's nothing bad about it. You know what I mean? The frequency, of course, was at a level where it's not where, you know what I mean? The frequency was at a level back then where it's not now. That's no fucking surprise. You know what I'm talking about? You could interview Farrakhan and ask him where was his frequency in those days, and he'll be like, that shit was not the same as where it's at now. So even people in the highest position, you could ask Dr. Sabi, where was the frequency, you know what I'm saying, back in those days? He would tell you like the frequencies were just different. It was just different. Even people that were on the front line, they'll tell you it was different. So it was a different day and time, and it had a different resonance and a different type of frequency. And we are where we are today. And today has a different frequency. We're in a different time. More people are, quote unquote, knowledgeable. More people are, quote unquote, woke. Not to personally say they are, whatever they are. Some people are more seasoned. Some people are more seasoned today than they were 10 years ago. Some people are less seasoned or less studied or less scholarly today than they were 10 years ago. There were some people who were way deeper, way more studied, way more articulate 10 years ago than they are today. Real talk. So it's just a different day and time. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to point fingers. you know, I would encourage people to enjoy the times that you're in, to take advantage, to be enthusiastic about all opportunities that invite themselves to you. You know what I mean? And keep an open mind and study, you know, for the future. Prepare for the future. Always think 20 and 10 and 30 and 40 years ahead and put yourself there and make moves today that'll get you in a better position tomorrow, and measure it by looking back 10 years ago and saying to yourself, if I had the opportunity to do something different, what would I do back then to get me right for today? You know, the magic answer is to buy crypto, nigga. Spend $1,000 on some bitcoins and get about 10,000 bitcoins. And you would have been a great you be in a great place today. Some of us made great decisions in life, you know, buy stocks, buy real estate, you know, all kind of shit. So be able to measure your next 10 by looking back on your last 10 and realizing some of the opportunities that you might not have caught on to, or you might have missed, or you may have just looked over and whatnot. Somebody said buy Ethereum. Yeah. So those conversations are reserved for, you know, the brothers and sisters who say that they want to have those conversations and show up for those conversations, like the one that we'll be having on the 21st. No, on the 21st, me and Blue Pill are going to be doing American Gods 44, but we're going to be getting into a lot of the information that's going on in this government and culture and society all around us, you know, the falling of this empire and the rising of a new one. But on the 25th, we're going to be doing this thing right here, which is the Strive and Thrive 21, the workshop on the 25th, 100 streams. All right, shout out to all of my stream chasers out there. We're going to be getting to it. We're going to be giving you a lot of information, tons of information on how to apply all of these new income streams that are popping up, all of the options that you have, all of the many different ways that you can tap into, all of the windows that are opening up out here. If you got your hand in 4 income streams right now, I'm going to bring you at least 4 more, 3 or 4 more, right? You can never have enough. If you have too many income streams, this is when being a friend kicks in, or this is where being a good parent kicks in. Spill it over to your loved ones, spill it over to those who can carry those streams. Link is in the description, y'all. You feel me? The link is in the description, you know. Tap in. And me and Blue Pill will be doing It's a Wrap, American Gods 44. That's coming up on Saturday. All right. And I look forward to all of my the brothers and sisters who bought tickets to be in the building for that. So with that being said, you know, I'm not gonna be here for too long. You know, like I said, the movie was a good movie overall, you know. The moral of the story that I got out of the movie is that you have to be very mindful about your circle, especially if you are in a situation where, you know, where you're doing some messianic shit, when you're high profile, when you're on the front lines, when you know that you may be doing something to have these people look at you like, yo, he's a threat because he got messianic energy type shit. Like, you should either, you know, be very mindful about your clique in your circle and the people that you call your team. And you know what I mean? Like, it's very important. Very, very important. So, you know, we're not even gonna have that conversation. If the people that are saying anything about Bitcoin are the ones that didn't buy it 10 years ago. Simple as that. Nobody who bought it 10 years ago is saying anything about it. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody that bought it 10 years ago has a problem with it. They're not finding the excuses to try to talk down to it or downplay it because they don't have it, right? Because they don't have it. And it's all good. It's like I said, it's okay. You know what I mean? Everything is not for everybody, and everybody is not for everything. So it's all good. You're gonna receive a lot of contention over the next few years from people who don't got Bitcoins or don't have no type of skin in the game. You know what I'm talking about? So it is what it is. Like I said, love and light to the family. I will see y'all on Thursday, I believe. Third Eye Thursdays. We'll be back. Me and Blue. Maybe me and Blue. Maybe me by myself. Who knows? All right. But with that being said, what song should I finish this off with? I don't know. I got songs on the album. Yeah, make sure y'all go and get the album, The Red Summer. All right. Go get your merch. We got hoodies, embroidery. Right? We got the hoodies. Check them out. They'll be on the site tonight. A new merch drop, embroidery. We got the face rollers. All right. We got the face rollers. So yeah, we're gonna leave it with the China flow. All right. Shout out to everybody. Love and light to y'all. I appreciate everyone. Y'all be good. We're gonna do the China flow. Y'all be safe. Y'all be all right. Y'all be focused and all of those good things. All right. And I'll see y'all soon.
Red summer. Yeah. Red. Yeah. Scorpion. Red summers. The president still acting unpresidential. Bitch, I'm in the Bronx with the evil in my residential. It was all emojis, it was never mental. The silver spoon is under fire, and the pressure vented. The times that we living in unprecedented. We went from doing a Dougie, fresh and vintage. Now the rhymes, they all pessimistic. Girl magic, just finesse the mystics. They impressed with quick chicks. Only savages be less sadistic. They being less specific. No metaphysics. So many butter biscuits. They need extra biscuits. We had the blessed district. Fresh and death. We was dressed and drip. They worship lesser gods with the lesser mystics. Cocksuckers. All they breath is fish sticks. They team Takashi. Yeah, they won't protect the witness. They team Takashi. Yeah, they won't protect the witness. Hannibal, Barker shit, darker shit. And the heart of it, yeah, starting shit. That Marty Martyr with Sean Carter starter kit. Brooklyn, yeah, Sparta shit. 300. The crimes of the passionate ones who fell in love with blasting their guns. My chain froze, chain clothes, same goes for Wayne Grove. The range road on strange roads. Dr. Strange mode on strange toes. Hack the brain, rearrange codes. 360 spinning clearly like a plane roll. 365 winning really like a game host. 444 degrees on the range stove. On the coast of the mango. These niggas wanna know how power is obtained. If you ask the shower posse, they'll tell you that it's hours of the rain. Till none of these cowards they remain. Flowers is arranged, carriages remain. Drawn by 400 horses, there was power in the range. 19 blocks cutters overpowering them planes. They left all them towers up in flames. I never look at 24 hours just the same. Bitch, I'm Jack Bauer mixed with Black Power. You a mixture of that crack powder and Mr. Matt Lauer. Hashtag Mr. Me Too. You met Red Pillar, I suggest that you niggas meet Blue.
Yo, in the land of of the brave, in the home of the giants. I was COVID compliant, she was COVID defiant. I was potent, reliant, we exposing these tyrants. Composed of the science, we not posing or trying. Controlling the climates, yeah, we mold these environments. Scientists with clientless, Midas touch with iron fist. Holding arms, only way to catch these gems. Texas with an open palm, equestrians on open farm. Potent on that potent wand, rolling farms, coat of arms, Olympian. Kicking doors, waving 44s. They wouldn't let me in. Shit, we talking like a thespian, but walking like pedestrians. It's my requiem, take you out front and center like ESPN. In the middle of the action, spitting with a passion. You get riddled if you passion. Shit, no dribble, we just passing off the scribble, we just cashing. Expand the vote, play above the rim. Earl goat, man a goat. I turn from man a hoe, can a hoe. Let them hammers go, split your cantaloupe. Not even Amber Rose can stop me from slut shaming all these bitch niggas. Yeah, your man's a hoe, the only antidote to split his cantaloupe. Leave you bloody like an antelope with Serengetis. Get her ready, shit, no introductions necessary. We legendary, yeah, the story still unfolds. Yeah, they taking us like secretaries. Yeah, the heart is like a message heavy. About that life, but what we represent me. Mystics in the forest, scientific witness Morris. All the shit I spit historic, like every day is February. Shit, you like it, I adore it. Shit, I write it, then record it. Recite it, and perform it. Excitement, I'm on for it. Biting like a walrus.